So when you come to Kabul, at least if you're me, the one thing you really want to do is have Richard Engel show you around. So thanks, Richard.
Welcome to Kabul, Rachel.
Tell me where we are.
We are in the center of the city. This is a market area, crowded, a poor area, and this is where a lot of business takes place, and it is a very busy part of town.
Yeah. And there's the ratio of men to women here is like 95 to 1.
Yes, you'll notice you're followed right now. There are not many women out on the streets. The women you do see are going to be wearing burqas unless they're girls.
Yeah. And very young girls too. It's not like you see like 10, 11-year-old girls.
Normally, when girls hit puberty, there's, according to the culture here, they're supposed to be covered up. But usually fathers will anticipate a little bit. So if the girl is getting even close, 9, 10, they'll cover her.
Richard and I were negotiating before about whether or not I was going, well, not negotiating, talking about whether or not I was going to be wearing a headscarf. And the idea was, no, you don't really need to, or in Kabul you don't really need to. Then when we figured out that we were coming here, he was like, yeah, you need to.
This area. There's also some mosques around here, and it depends. If you're in an area where there are many Westerners, and there are some Westerners in this country, probably not necessary. But there are not many Westerners come into this neighborhood, certainly to buy, phone cards or soft drinks or anything like that.
Right. What's this neighborhood called?
This is just the market area. It's very near to the canal.
Okay.
The canal, which is part of the Kabul River that goes through the city. And you'll notice how really crowded it is.
Yeah.
Most people don't know Kabul has expanded dramatically since 2001.
Why?
There were about 1 million people here before the war. Now they're between 4 and 5 million people.
Oh my God.
So it's grown 3 to 5 times.
Is that because of people leaving outlying areas to come here for either for opportunity or because they can't stay where they are?
Both.
Okay.
Once the invasion began, lots and lots of money started pouring into Kabul.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars a month is ending up here.
Right.
So there's jobs. And as the Taliban has come back and made a resurgence, people have gotten more nervous and more insecure in the outlying areas. So a lot of jobs, a lot of security, and then there's just the general trend of urbanization that's happening in poor countries all over the world.
And in terms of Kabul's infrastructure and the degree to which the city can sustain,
well, there is no infrastructure.
Growth.
I mean, there is no infrastructure.
Well,
look, I mean, they're selling chickens, whole and meat hanging from the streets. Yeah. There are open sewers over there. There's not much infrastructure. It has improved dramatically.
You do see electrical lines and some stuff.
That has improved considerably.
Yeah.
In 2001, there were about 3 hours of electricity a day. Now there's almost 24-hour power in Kabul. Wow. So that is a dramatic difference. But there's still really no infrastructure to support the city. The roads are packed. Every time it rains, the streets flood. Mm-hmm. There are the sewage and garbage are not collected efficiently or at all. So it can't really manage itself. But like places, it just sort of pushes through. People come out here. It's relatively safe. There's not a lot of crime. There's almost no street crime. You're not going to get mugged. It's not a city like that.
Why is that?
Partly the culture. Yep. There's never been a real tradition of crime. There's some political crime, occasionally car bombs and things like that. Right. But you're not likely to have any kind of sexual assault or petty crime, which is something that is a testimony to their culture.
Well, let me ask you about, in terms of the amount of money flowing in to Kabul, one of the biggest sort of exclamation point stories about Afghanistan in the U.S. press in the last few months has been the amount of cash that's flying out of Kabul airport, usually to Dubai.
Yeah, $10,000 a day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even just the amount of declared cash is incredible. And so, obviously, war brings with it, and the United States military brings with it this tidal wave of money into this incredibly poor country.
We're going to go to another area soon where you see all of that money, all of the war money.
So that's what I meant to ask, is that is it creating any economic development here, or is it just...
No, it's creating mostly corruption, unfortunately.
This looks like lunch.
This is tripe, and they keep the heads because you can make soup, and it also shows that it's fresh. Because if the heads and the eyes were all dried out, then it would show that it's old intestine, and we're not having that for lunch.
We're not. I don't know. Those goat heads look very fresh.
Yeah, they looked fresh, and that is the sign. But the common perception or misperception is that this is a narco state and that the people here who are corrupt live off of drug money.
Yeah.
And yes, there is some drug money, maybe even a few $100 million a year in drug money, which is a lot. But by far, the biggest industry is the war.
Yeah.
$5.5 billion a month. Billion dollars a month. So anyone connected with the war has made much, much more money than anyone connected with drugs.
Yeah.
What is your name?
Hello. How are you? We're just working here. Give us a minute, okay? So
NBC News' new junior foreign correspondent.
Exactly. Well, he's taking my job.
That's exactly right. Kid's actually starting at CNBC. Turns out he's like a savant stock analyst. Who knew? If anybody asks me what you can buy in Kabul that you can't get in the States, I will now be able to tell them something I wouldn't have imagined before I saw it for myself. That excellent adventure coming up next.